Hey guys, it's Crystal and welcome back to my channel. You all know that I am an avid reader and that I set goals for myself. If it isn't the most obvious thing, it is the second most talked about topic on my channel, books and everything that I'm reading. And with it being the new year, I have set a new reading goal for myself, which is to read 24 books in 2024. So this video is going to be a two-parter, and I'm going to be talking about the first 12 of my 24 most anticipated reads in this video. So the first 3 most anticipated books that I need to read that are on my TBR list are the different Sarah J. Maas books. The A Court of Thorns and Roses series, Crescent City, and Throne of Glass. I have been recommended all these Sarah J. Maas books by so many people in the book community, and some of my friends who enjoy reading just as much as me. I've heard non-stop so many good things mainly about A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I've also heard many good things in general about Sarah J. Maas and her writing. Once I finish reading A Shadow in the Ember, because I had to put that book on pause to read my holiday reads last month, this book will be most likely my third book of the year. Yes, I've already finished one, and that was Iron Flame. I plan on doing a review for that book sometime this month. But besides the point, these books are one of the most anticipated reads on my list, and I am excited to dive into the Sarah J. Maas universe and understand the hype behind her writing, behind her stories, especially to understand the hype behind this book and this book series. The next anticipated read for the year is Icebreaker. I got this book about 1.5 years ago and haven't really read it yet, mainly due to the fact that there's so much hype around it and so many people love it. And a part of me is afraid to read it just because of the hype. But I know I ultimately have to read it just because I also hear so many good things about Hannah Grace's writing and her story. And on top of this one, she came out with Wildfire and she's coming out with another book. So this book, along with Wildfire, are 2 of my other anticipated reads for the year. This next book, My Fault, I got into it due to the fact that it has been turned into a movie on Prime, and I saw one clip from the movie and it got me hooked on the book. I didn't see anything related to the book other than I saw on Instagram and TikTok that clip was from this book. And after that, I was like, I have to read it. So this is another book that is on my TBR for the year and is on my anticipated reads for the year. I also didn't know that there was another book that came out called Your Fault. And this year, the 3rd book in this series called Our Fault comes out. So I have to read this one before I can get to the other 2. So this is another one of my most anticipated reads for the year. If I remember correctly, this book was this author's debut novel that came out. No, I'm totally wrong. This is not. Future me, editing me, correct me, put something around here to let people know. I saw this book on Instagram. I saw people talking about it, and I read a little bit about what this book is about. Basically, the main character, she is a nanny to a single dad who, I can't remember if he's a millionaire or a billionaire, but the dad has money, and it has the basic trope of single dad and nanny. And I just knew I wanted to read it, but I haven't gotten around to it. So this book is another book on my TBR list for the year and my anticipated reads. The author is also coming out with a second book. I think it actually already came out, and a third book. So again, I need to read this before I get into the other ones as well. So this is another book that is on my anticipated reads for the year. I am 110% going to be in another Anne Juan reading phase because she is coming out with this series and I need to read them. As of right now, I have the first three, which is this one, King of Wrath, the second one, King of Pride, and the third one, which is King of Greed. The fourth one, King of Sloth, comes out later this year, and I hear nothing but good things about this series, and I need to get into these. I need to read them. I have to read these. I need to read these. So I am going to be in another Anne Juan phase, another Anne Juan era, just to read these books and to finally know what they're about. Granted, I kind of sort of remember the tropes a little bit. This one, not so much. But all in all, I like Anne Juan's writing, and this is another series of hers that I need to read, just because I have the first three and the fourth book comes out later this year. I am also going to most likely be entering my small town cowboy era when I read these. When I read this one and the other books, the other four books that come after it. This is another book series that I've seen all over Book Talk and Book Instagram that many people talk about, and I just know that I am going to like this series because each book in a way is a standalone. Well, actually no, yeah, each book is a standalone, but if they're anything like some of the other books that I've read that have been part of a series, there are most likely going to be characters in this book that will appear in the next book, and so on and so forth. So each book is its own. If I remember correctly, yes, this first one is the Bull Rider one, and I can't remember what the other four are. I'll have myself kind of like put the list here. So this year, I am going to be entering my small town cowboy reading era. Moving right along and still kind of sort of continuing with romance, I hope to get into Jennifer Hartman's writing, to get into her books. This is Lotus, and along with her other books that she's written, I've seen and heard nothing but good things about her writing, and she's another author that I want to try out just because I've seen people say nothing but good things about her writing. So this is another book that is on my TBR list for the year and one of my most anticipated reads for the year. This series has been on my shelf for a while. I have the other 4 books in this series, but the Never After series is the series that I need to read this year. Other than Sarah J. Maas, this is another series that I need to read. Each book is a retelling of a different fairy tale. I know I've talked about this series in previous videos. This one is a retelling of Peter Pan, and it's told in a more twisted and darker way. So, as someone who loves Disney and fairy tales, this one, 100%, I need to read. This series, the Never After series, I 100% need to read. And also, I want to support this author. I follow her on Instagram and TikTok, and I've been seeing her journey of, I believe she is going through chemotherapy for cancer. So she 100% needs to be supported no matter what. Even though I haven't read any of her books at all, I buy her new books when they come out. Yeah, I pretty much have almost the whole Never After series, and I have not read them. And I plan on reading them this year, and I am so looking forward to finally diving into this story, this one, and the other books, and supporting her even more. I've had the Dreamland series on my shelf for the longest time, and I still have not read them. I am so mad and so disappointed at myself because I follow Lauren Asher on all social media platforms, and I've heard good things about her writing, but I have still not picked this book up, nor the series, and I need to. I have to. I want to read them, even though I kind of know what they're about. This one, if the only thing that I know is that it kind of gives like a Walt Disney World vibes to it. And again, like I talked about with the previous book, I am a Disney girly. I like Disney. I love going to the parks. I am a Disney girly. So this book, this series is up my alley. So this is another one of my really most anticipated reads of the year. And number 12, the 12th book for this video, one of my other most anticipated reads is Haunting Adelaide. I really hope to read this duology this year. I've heard good things about the duology on TikTok and on book Instagram. All I'm saying is I just cannot wait to read this duology, Haunting Adelaide. I have this one and part 2. So all in all, I'm really looking forward to reading Haunting Adelaide and finally understanding the hype around the male main character, the love interest in the book, Zade Meadows. So this is number 12 of my long list of 24. So yes, I have a lot of books I need to read. Most of them are the first books in a series. I'm hoping to get to most of the series that I talked about, mainly A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I have all 4 books in that series as of right now. I know Sarah J. Maas is coming out with another one. I also hope to get into, what's it called? The Flawless series. I know it has like an official name, but it's escaping my brain right now. I hope to get into the Never After series and the Dreamland series this year. Like, those are the ones that I want to prioritize the most this year. And of course, there are going to be other books that I'm hoping to read and to get into, but I will be talking about the other 12 most anticipated reads of the year in part 2, which will most likely be coming out at the end of the month. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Please give it a like, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys are reading right now, or if you have a TBR list for the year, or what your reading goal is for the year. Please comment down below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Bye!